Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. How many times have you found yourself in a situation where everything seemed fine, but suddenly there was a shift in the atmosphere? You know, when a conversation takes a turn, someone's mood changes without warning, or things just don't add up? I'm talking about moments when it feels like there's a deeper, unseen force at play, manipulating minds and stirring hearts. In our lives, there are forces beyond our understanding that influence people's behavior. One of the most impactful forces is the spiritual realm, the realm of good and evil, of light and darkness. As you walk in your purpose, as you seek to make a difference in the world, as you rise to live a life of meaning and victory, you will undoubtedly come face to face with the forces of darkness. And in those moments, you must understand this: your very presence will irritate demons and people. You are not ordinary. You are not someone who just takes up space. The moment you decided to pursue greatness, to live a life of integrity and purpose, you became a threat to the very forces that seek to keep the world in darkness. You carry within you something far greater than what the world can offer. Light. Light is power. And the power of light exposes darkness wherever it goes. Think about it. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere changes. You don't have to say a word, yet people notice. Why? Because you are carrying an energy, a presence that is unseen yet undeniable. There is an undeniable shift when you step into your purpose. You become a target, and that's something every person who has ever dared to rise above mediocrity understands. When you walk in truth, when you refuse to bow to fear, when you stand firm on your principles, the forces of darkness feel threatened. This is not some abstract idea. It's a powerful spiritual reality. You are challenging everything the enemy holds dear. You become a mirror reflecting their deceit and their lies, and they don't want to be exposed. Consider the story of Jesus Christ himself. Everywhere he went, he was a direct challenge to the powers of darkness. Everywhere he went, he disrupted the status quo, healed the sick, freed the oppressed, and exposed corruption. The darkness could not bear his light. It was no surprise when the enemy moved to destroy him. His very existence was a direct assault on everything they had built. When you stand firm in your purpose, when you refuse to be intimidated, when you walk boldly in truth, you too will become a threat to the darkness. People will feel uneasy around you, not because of anything you've done, but because your light exposes things they would rather keep hidden. This is the reason many will criticize you, label you, and accuse you of being arrogant or holier than thou. But no, you are simply a reflection of the one who sent you into this world. Your light disturbs the forces of evil, and they will react. It's crucial to understand that your presence challenges the very foundation of what many people know as normal. Darkness wants you to stay silent, to blend in, to compromise. But you, my friend, were never meant to be ordinary. You were never meant to blend in. You were born to stand out, to shine, and to challenge the systems of this world that uphold the darkness. Every step you take in your purpose is a battle won over the forces that try to keep the truth buried. This world needs your light now more than ever. Your authenticity, your faith, your courage, and your unwavering belief in a better tomorrow will irritate the demons that work in the lives of those around you. And that's okay. Let them be irritated, because it is proof you are on the right path. When your light becomes a threat, the enemy knows it must act. And what does it do? It tries to undermine your confidence, your very belief in who you are and what you're capable of. And if the enemy can make you doubt yourself, if it can convince you that you are not enough, then it can stop you from moving forward in your purpose. Demons know that confidence is contagious. When you walk confidently in who you are, you inspire others. Confidence is contagious because people can see your belief in your mission, and it compels them to believe in you too. But if the enemy can strip you of your confidence, it can stall your progress. The tactic is simple but deadly. Make you feel insecure, inadequate, and unworthy. And if it can get inside your mind, it will make you question your calling. It will whisper to you that you are not qualified, that you don't have the resources, the education, the experience, or even the right connections. It will make you feel small and insignificant. It will make you question whether you have what it takes. The enemy will tell you that your dreams are too big, your goals too lofty, and your ambition too audacious. You might have experienced this in your own life. Perhaps you were ready to take a bold step towards something greater, but suddenly doubt crept in. A voice inside your head told you it was too risky, too hard, or even that you were not capable. This is not just a random thought. It is a direct attack on your confidence. This is exactly what happened to Moses. When God called Moses to deliver the Israelites from Egypt, he was filled with fear and self-doubt. He questioned his own abilities, even though God had already given him everything he needed to succeed. He said, "Who am I to lead these people?" He doubted his identity, his worth, and his capacity. But God's response was powerful. "I will be with you." In other words, your confidence doesn't come from what you think you can do alone. It comes from knowing that the one who has called you is with you every step of the way. Demons will try to get into your mind and make you feel like you're not enough. But this is where you must take a stand. The truth is that you are not qualified because of your own merit. You are qualified because of who God is and the power He's placed inside of you. Confidence doesn't mean you have it all figured out. It means you trust the process. You believe in your purpose and you keep moving forward despite the obstacles. Consider the story of David again. When he faced Goliath, everyone around him saw the giant as an insurmountable challenge. Even King Saul doubted David's ability to defeat Goliath. But David was not swayed by the opinions of others. He didn't let the size of the giant diminish his confidence. Why? Because his confidence was not in his own strength. It was in the God who had delivered him from the paw of the lion and the bear. When the enemy tries to undermine your confidence, you have to remember your victories. You've already overcome so much. You've already won battles in your life that others never even saw. The same power that helped you conquer the small battles will carry you through the bigger ones. Your confidence is rooted not in your ability, but in the one who called you to do great things. So when the demons of doubt, fear, and insecurity come knocking at your door, don't answer. Stand firm. Remember your identity and keep moving forward. You are qualified. You are capable. You are more than enough. And no amount of doubt or discouragement from the enemy will ever change that truth. When you rise to challenge darkness, the enemy knows it cannot defeat you head on. Instead, it will try to slow you down and even derail you through opposition. Opposition doesn't always come in the form of direct attacks. Sometimes it is more subtle. Sabotage through people, situations, or even your own inner struggles. But make no mistake about it, opposition is a tool the enemy will use to stop your progress. When you begin to move in the direction of your purpose, when you commit to living boldly, authentically, and without compromise, the forces that thrive in darkness will stir up opposition in the most unexpected ways. Sometimes it will be in the form of critical people. They will question your methods, challenge your vision, and even mock your goals. When Nehemiah began rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, he faced relentless opposition. Enemies like Sanballat and Tobiah mocked him, criticized his efforts, and tried to intimidate him into quitting. But Nehemiah didn't back down. He remained resolute because he understood that his mission was bigger than the opposition. When demons stir up opposition, it's not just a personal attack. It's an attempt to distract you, to get you off course. The enemy's strategy is simple. If it can't take you down through fear or insecurity, it will try to overwhelm you with obstacles, whether it's delays, setbacks, or outright hostility from people who should be your allies. Opposition is designed to make you second guess your purpose. This is exactly what happened to Joseph. When he was sold into slavery by his brothers, it was a clear attempt to stop his progress. And when he was falsely accused and imprisoned, the opposition seemed to be relentless. Yet, every time Joseph faced a setback, he remained faithful. The enemy's opposition only propelled him forward. It was in the pit that Joseph's character was built. It was in prison that Joseph learned leadership. And it was in the face of overwhelming opposition that he was elevated to a position of authority that would ultimately fulfill the dreams he had when he was a young boy. You will face opposition too. The enemy wants to convince you that when things don't go as planned, it's because you're on the wrong path. But understand this: opposition is not an indicator of failure, it's proof of progress. The enemy will not oppose you unless you are on the right track. If you weren't a threat, there would be no need to stir up opposition in your life. So when you face resistance, when things seem to be going wrong, don't panic, stay the course. Remember, God is working in the opposition. What the enemy meant for your harm, God will use for your good. Opposition is the tool that will sharpen you, strengthen you, and prepare you for the victory that lies ahead. Like a blacksmith using fire to refine precious metal, opposition will purify your character and increase your resilience. So do not be discouraged when challenges arise. Instead, be encouraged. Your progress is undeniable, and every opposition you face only confirms that you are on the right path. When the enemy can't take you down with opposition, it often resorts to deception. Demons will use lies to confuse you, to make you question your purpose and your path. Deception is one of the enemy's most powerful tools because it works on your mind. The enemy's goal is to make you believe that the promises God has spoken over your life are not true, that the visions you have are nothing more than wishful thinking, and that the goals you set are impossible to achieve. The enemy will whisper lies like, "This is too hard. You'll never make it. It's too late for you." These are all deceptions designed to erode your confidence and distract you from your purpose. The enemy knows that once it gets into your mind, it can control your actions. If it can convince you to doubt the truth, it can make you stumble in your walk. But here's the truth: deception is powerless against the truth. Look at the story of Eve in the Garden of Eden. The serpent's approach was clever. He didn't come with an outright attack. He used deception. He twisted God's words and made Eve question God's intentions. He led her to believe that God was withholding something from her and that she could gain more if she took matters into her own hands. And in that moment of confusion, she acted against what she knew to be right. The enemy didn't need to defeat her with force. It simply sowed seeds of doubt and confusion. This is how demons work in our lives. They don't always come as a roaring lion. Sometimes they come as a subtle whisper. And it's in that whisper that they sow confusion, making us second guess our decisions, our worth, and even our dreams. They will tell you it's not the right time. You'll never have enough resources. Or who do you think you are to think you can do this? But the truth is that your identity is rooted in something far greater than these lies. You are not defined by your circumstances, by what others say, or by what your current situation looks like. You are defined by the truth of who you are. And when deception comes, it is your responsibility to stand firm in the truth. When Jesus was tempted by the devil in the wilderness, he didn't argue with the enemy or try to fight him with logic. Instead, he responded with truth. Each time the devil tried to deceive him, Jesus answered with the word of God. And that's how we must fight deception, by grounding ourselves in the truth. The more rooted you are in God's word, the more you can recognize the lies when they come. The truth will protect you from deception, and it will keep you focused on your purpose. There is power in knowing who you are. When you understand the authority you carry, the enemy's lies have no power over you. You are a child of God, and that truth cannot be shaken by the lies of the enemy. Every time the enemy tries to deceive you, remind yourself of your worth. Remind yourself of the promises that have been spoken over your life. Stand firm on the truth, and let that truth be the weapon that dispels the enemy's lies. Deception is only effective when we allow it to take root in our hearts. The moment we expose the lies to the light of truth, they lose their power. Keep your mind focused. Stay grounded in your purpose, and know that God's truth will always outweigh the enemy's deception. Isolation is one of the most dangerous tactics the enemy will use against you when your light becomes too bright to ignore. The enemy knows that when you stand alone, you are more vulnerable, and your strength can be sapped. Demons try to isolate you to weaken your resolve, to make you feel disconnected from your purpose, and to convince you that you are alone in your struggles. When the enemy isolates you, it works to prevent you from finding strength in community, from getting encouragement and support, and from feeling empowered in your mission. There is power in unity, and the enemy knows that. When people come together in agreement, when they pray and support one another, when they stand firm in purpose, they are unstoppable. So, what does the enemy do? It tries to divide and isolate. It tries to make you feel like no one understands your pain, your struggles, or your journey. It tells you that no one else is going through what you're going through, so why bother reaching out? The enemy whispers, you are alone. No one sees you. No one cares about what you're doing. These are lies meant to wear you down, to convince you that you have no one to lean on. But let me tell you this truth. You are never alone. Even when you feel isolated, even when the enemy whispers in your ear that you are on your own, there is always a community of believers, of people who are walking the same path. There is a body of individuals whose hearts beat for the same cause, whose prayers and support can sustain you in your hardest moments. The enemy's isolation tactic is one of its greatest lies. It's a way to silence you, to convince you that you're weak and incapable of doing the work you were called to do. Take a look at Elijah's story. He was a prophet of incredible power. He had seen God bring fire down from heaven and defeat false prophets. Yet, when he found himself threatened by Queen Jezebel, he ran into the wilderness, feeling as if he was the only one left who was faithful to God. He even prayed for death. In that moment of isolation, he was emotionally and spiritually drained, but God reminded him that he was not alone. God told him that there were still 7,000 others who had not bowed to Baal. Elijah's isolation was not the truth of his reality, and it is not the truth of yours either. When the enemy tries to isolate you, it is critical that you don't allow those lies to take root in your heart. Reach out, find your community. It might not always be easy, but there are people who are waiting to walk with you, to lift you up when you feel down, and to remind you of your calling when the darkness seems overwhelming. You don't have to carry your burdens alone. God has placed people in your life for a reason, and the enemy's job is to get you to believe that you don't need anyone, but you do. We all do. Think of Jesus himself, who, though the Son of God, never walked alone. He surrounded himself with disciples. He found strength in community, even though he had the power to do everything on his own. The power of community is a divine principle. Even in his darkest hour, when he was about to be arrested and crucified, he took his disciples with him to the Garden of Gethsemane to pray. He wasn't just strengthening himself, He was giving them the opportunity to stand with him, to support him, and to stand in unity in the face of impending trials. The enemy knows that when we isolate ourselves, we become weaker. It is in isolation that we begin to doubt our purpose, our abilities, and even our calling. We become susceptible to discouragement, and our resolve weakens. When we separate ourselves from others, we risk losing sight of our mission. But when we stand together, we are powerful beyond measure. The Bible says a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. This is a reminder that we were never meant to walk alone. Demons use isolation to create an illusion of powerlessness. They will make you feel like no one cares, like no one understands your journey, and that you're fighting this battle all by yourself. But in those moments, don't fall for the lie. Turn to your family, your friends, your fellow believers, and let them remind you of the truth. There is strength in numbers. When you unite with others who share your faith, who support your vision, and who walk with you through the challenges, you become a force that cannot be easily shaken. So when you feel the pull of isolation, when you feel like retreating into yourself and shutting the world out, fight against it. Reach out. Seek community. Find those who will speak life into you, who will challenge you to keep going when you feel like giving up, who will hold you up when your strength is failing. The enemy tries to isolate you, to weaken you, but the strength of your community will fortify you, push you forward, and help you accomplish your mission. When demons try to isolate you, remind yourself that you are part of something much bigger than yourself. Your calling isn't just about you. It's about those you are meant to impact, and it's about the community of believers who will stand with you, fight for you, and cheer you on as you fulfill your destiny. As you walk out of this place today, I want you to remember that you are not a passive participant in the world around you. You are a force, a light, a living testimony to the power of God. The enemy will attempt to irritate you, to provoke you, and to intimidate you, because your very existence is a challenge to darkness. But take heart. The opposition you face, the deception you encounter, the isolation you may feel, they are all simply signs that you are on the right path. When the demons react to your purpose, when they stir up opposition or try to rob you of your confidence, know this: they are afraid. They are afraid of the impact you are destined to have. They are afraid of the change that is about to take place. And they are terrified of the light you carry. But you are not alone in this fight. You have the strength of the one who called you, the power of community, and the truth of his promises. Every challenge you face, every moment of doubt, every attempt to isolate you is simply a part of the process of fulfilling your destiny. Stand firm. Trust in the truth. Keep moving forward, knowing that you are equipped for every battle, strengthened by every opposition, and empowered by every obstacle that tries to stand in your way. Don't be intimidated. Don't shrink back. Your light is needed now more than ever. You are a living force of change, and the world is waiting for you to rise. The demons may react, but they will never stop you. Your destiny is greater than any force that tries to stand against it. Keep walking in purpose, in strength, and in confidence, knowing that your light will shine through the darkness. You are destined for greatness. Let nothing and no one convince you otherwise.